So you've decided you're on a journey and you want to experience the most, huh? I can dig it. Why don't you come down this road? It's not too much traffic, lots of peace and serenity. You know, the road less traveled. I am Dolo, your friendly spiritual assistant. I'm here to help, and I'm glad you're here. Here on the road less traveled, there's a lot of self-reflection, self-development, and lots of love always. Warning, there are no shortcuts on this road. But if you stick with it, you're guaranteed to get where you need to be, where you want to be. Hey. Welcome to the road less traveled. I'm your host and your friendly spiritual assistant, Dolo. This episode 3, we speak about being unconditional. This episode is about being unconditional. I want to start off by saying, we are each being who we want to be right now. Literally, we are each being who we want to be. Just keep that in mind. No one's making you be the way you are. It's all you, baby. So, let's jump into being unconditional. Being unconditional in this walk will only benefit you. Meaning your wellness, your peace, and or joy has been created to be enjoyed always. And if you aren't allowing interjections or distractions to have your power and your energy, you can soar emotionally, spiritually, mentally, at least. What does being unconditional look like? This sort of looks like turning the other cheek, so to speak. This looks like canning your initial reaction to situations and allowing things to unfold. If your current conditions are making you feel some sort of way, then a good place to start is to center yourself, balance yourself, align yourself, with the source within you, with the vibration of peace and the vibration of well-being. You have to find that area within yourself. And that's a great place to start when you're feeling misaligned or you're feeling not up to par. If your current conditions are making you feel some sort of way, start inside. To say that we are misaligned, angry, or out of whack in any way because of someone else's actions is also giving away our individual power. To blame it on our current environment is giving away our energy, our power, our energy. We are not taking accountability for it. We are handing it over to someone else. You basically are stating that you play by the rules of that which has upset you. All different types of personalities and characteristics and behaviors exist on this physical plane. So we must acknowledge that there are individuals who will thrive, literally thrive off of disrupting our peace. Get a kick out of making you react, so to speak. You know, the watch this people. If pursuing your peace is relevant to you, you must learn to control yourself. Self-discipline will get you very, very far in life. To be able to control your emotions, your intake of energies, your output of energies. If someone can call you a name or say something that is untrue about you, and you feel the need to set them straight every single time you feel like you have to set them straight, that is the bottom line. You may be a little conditional. Just an example, but you may be a little conditional. It's best to stay as calm as possible in any situation that you feel is coming for your emotions. You can always think more clear when you are calm, when you are in a clear state. Lashing out, speaking before thinking, acting before thinking can definitely intensify whatever is happening at that moment. To put it in a broader perspective, maybe even considered a logical one, you do not possess the ability in this realm to convince every single person to do things your way. You don't have it like that. No, that's not you. No. You do not possess the power to control every single person on this physical plane. Would you agree with that? Do you have the time to make that happen? If one person or some people in a certain area on this earth are doing things to provoke you into an emotional state of some sort, you must ask yourself, after I set these ones straight, am I going to weed out all the others who say the same things that they just said to me? Am I going to set them straight too? Or will you spend the rest of your existence setting them straight as they approach you throughout life? Will this be your life goal? Is this your life mission now? setting people straight about upsetting you, about having an opinion and having the nerve to speak in this free world? Will you go and ensure that no one else will ever behave this way on your path ever again? Is this what you deem worthy of your energy? At this point, Earth is said to have about 8 billion inhabitants, about 8 billion humans roaming the Earth. Again, a little perspective. Will you gather everyone in one place to make the announcement for everyone to stay out of your way? Will you even meet 8 billion people before you leave the physical realm? Are you working on that right now? Are you currently working on that? Going around the world, meeting all of us? All 8 billion-ish of us? If so, like, you should probably be like doing that right now. Are you doing that right now? Are you meeting people while you watching this? I mean, you can actually. That's impressive of you, if you are. Do you speak the thousands of languages that exist in order to make sure everyone hears you? Are you well versed in the thousands of different dialects that exist? The dialects you'll need to spread this message. Will you speak with each individual directly to drive your point of how they need to behave for you? Keep in mind, telephone normally distorts the message by the time it passes all the way through to the other end of the line. So you may need to speak with everyone individually. Side note, telephone, if you did not play that game in school or if you did not know that game, period, that game is an interesting one because what you do is, I'm going to explain it. Yes, I'm going to explain the game of telephone. What you do is you line up and, I mean, it's normally probably about 10 plus people because I did it in school anyway. And at the beginning of the line, you pass a message. The first person in line passes a message to the second person, but to their ear. You whispered in their ear so that no one else has heard what the message was. You're going to pass it all the way to the end and then find out what was said. So, needless to say, the message goes through the line, and every single time I've ever played it, the message does not come out as what that initial first person in line said. Every time I've ever played it, the message comes out different than what the first person in line actually said. And I've played that game a lot. I think the point of it is to explain that, like, everyone, it changes up throughout the line. Some people hear different things. Some people don't comprehend and don't ask for clarity, so they just pass along what they think they heard. Some people just like to shake things up and put a little extra in there because they think it's funny. You know, it's life. And so, are you going to individually walk around and tell these people, all of us, that we need to treat you that way? Is this the plan? And considering all the different personality types, considering that there are those out there who don't care what you're talking about, they're not seeking change in any way. They're not looking to develop self. They don't want peace and are not interested in consideration of others. Yeah, those exist in our society, in case you didn't know. Those who are petty just for the fun of it and will argue with you just because. Not because they believe in what they're saying, but because it's fun to get that reaction from you. Word for word, word for word. Or the people who will comprehend and digest your message and still decide it's not for them. They'll decline your invitation. They're not interested. And they have that right. They decline having to care about what it is that you're asking them to pay attention to. I can go on forever, but I just wanted to paint a picture for you. It is a huge feat to take on the entire world, physically anyway. Especially when your goal is to make them comprehend what you want them to comprehend. Because again, perspective is everything. We all comprehend something different. We can be in the same room and we do not see the same thing or hear or feel or notice the same things. It's just what it is. We are here in our own individual worlds, living in a big collective world. That's all. Many of our Earth's inhabitants are not conscious and are not even interested. They do not wish to be. They're perfectly fine where they are. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I have yet to see everyone on this planet agree about something, which is also something that Abraham Hicks talks about, the fact that you cannot make everyone agree. Esther Hicks touches this too. She speaks of finding another focal point instead of attempting to change everyone and to not be a martyr for the masses, or not, she doesn't put it that way, don't be a martyr, because she never tells you what to do. And I am also not telling you what to do ever. Not that I could. But she suggests that you don't be a martyr for the masses if you're looking for peace and happiness, pretty much. She makes an extremely valid point, in my opinion, when she says that you cannot get sick enough to make all the sick people well. You cannot become poor enough to make all the poor people rich. You cannot become depressed enough to make all the depressed people happy. The bottom line is that we are each responsible for our own vibrations. Not only are we each responsible for our own vibrations, but the point in Esther Hicks bringing that up is that if you are a martyr and you're taking all the pain for everyone or on behalf of everyone until it can become equal or even for the whole of this world, you're kind of doing yourself and the world a disservice. Because, again, with all of the different personality types, that's not where this will ever be. That's not what this is even about. It's not about that. It's about navigating your way through it. And yes, you can change the overall collective. You can make a difference in the overall collective when it comes to the well-being of people. But it's usually not going to happen by you forcing suffering on yourself. You can make change, yes, but unlikely because of the suffering. We are each responsible for our own actions, and you cannot do anything on another's behalf technically. You cannot do anything to adjust their lives on their behalf. You can just meet them on the vibration and assist from there, but you are not enforcing anything into their world. They must do it themselves. They must. We each have to do it ourselves. Whatever it is. I say that all the time. Whatever it is, you have to do it. I have to do it. We are each a chunk of immortal walking around in these bodies grounded to this earth. You are the only one in your body. Everyone else is one to a body. You cannot intervene despite what you think you're doing, regardless of what you think you are doing in someone else's life or someone else is doing in your life. We cannot interfere with one another's lives. All we can do is demonstrate in front of them. That person will have to have an active vibration to be attracting what it is that they are attracting. They have to have an active vibration that matches in order for them to be affected in any way. So enabling is not helping. Sacrificing your well-being for the well-being of another is not helping you, and a lot of times is not helping them. Not the sacrificing of your well-being. You can help without sacrificing is what I'm saying. There are plenty of ways to help others. And there's an old saying, if you can't beat them, join them. Don't let this be the case if you genuinely wish to enjoy your time in this body. Whoever it is that you care about will be fine one day, as long as they learn to tap into themselves. They have the same source that you have. Whatever you're calling that source. We all have the same source. There's one source. They will be fine once they discover the absolute power inside of them that you have. Even if you haven't, I just mean we each will discover on our own, in our own time, what powers we have lying inside of us that was given to us when we came to this earth. Once they have comprehended that they are each also tied to source, a source that will always orchestrate things for their best well-being, for their best results, you must take care of yourself first, every time. We must each take care of ourselves first, every time. You can only give what you have, so make sure you have something before you go giving. I'm speaking metaphorically. I'm not speaking financially, physically. I mean, that too, obviously, but I'm talking about your spirit. I'm talking about our source, the source within each of us. Have something to give before you go giving. It's that mask example on the airplane. You are always directed in case of an emergency to put your mask on first once it drops from the ceiling. Put your mask on before you help anyone else with their mask, even your children. Same thing here. Same thing here. It's the same thing here. Think about it. If you go to reach for your kid's mask once they drop from the ceiling and you pass out halfway back because you haven't yet put your own mask on, now the question is, did you even give your kid a better outcome? If you die, are they better off now? Especially knowing that you died on their behalf? Or at least that's what it would seem like, I'm sure. I'm just throwing things out. You know how I am. I'm just throwing things out. Just want you to think on it. Think something about it. Think on it. I am a philosopher at heart. I'm a lot of things at heart. I'm an artist. I'm an artist at heart. But I am a philosopher as well. I definitely vibrate on philosophy. Just think about it. Think about the possibilities. Everything happens for a reason, and yet it doesn't mean to be careless. It doesn't mean to be careless about things and others that mean something to you, that matter to you. It goes back to what I was saying about staying calm. Your mind is clearer when you're not at a heightened emotional state. You must always address yourself first in any situation, no matter who's around or what they're doing. You must address your inner being first to get anything successful done, really. In your world, your results are about you. Your results come from you in your world. Do you wish to be someone who's always reacting to something? Baited into a certain state? Entertainment for those who derive joy from watching you get bent out of shape and struggle to realign yourself? If you're not owning and taking charge of the powers that you naturally possess and do not need permission to use, you'll likely always feel like a victim. It's likely that you'll always feel like a victim. A powerless little person. Poor powerless person. You'll likely stay confused about your next step because you haven't aligned with yourself and sustained that alignment. Again, no one's perfect. What's going to happen is going to happen. However, if we're talking about desired results, you can shape that. You can navigate your way. You can say for the most part, what's going to happen. Conditions change constantly. People change, emotions change. Would you want to stand on a patch of ground that was constantly changing? For example, this particular patch will randomly and sporadically change into hard dirt, thin ice, quicksand, red dirt, rocks, pebbles, etc. If there was a place like this, would you choose to stand and move on that patch of the earth? Or would it seem more conducive to stand and operate on a firm patch? I know some of y'all are thrill seekers. I get it. I have a little bit of thrill seeking within me too. Sometimes I do things just because I know it's gonna feel good to my spirit. I get it. I see you thrill seekers. I do. I love a challenge if nothing else. So I see you thrill seekers. No beef. But to put this into serious perspective, how much can you really accomplish not knowing what's coming next, whether you are prepared and whether or not you'll get stuck? Choose what is sturdy. Choose you and what you intend to happen in your life. Not reacting, but intending. Realigning with self as necessary. And not allowing the conditions that you are currently in to determine how you're feeling. Even in the area of love, a lot of times we all believe that we are being unconditional in our love. And then something will happen and you realize, well, the condition has changed and either I don't love that person anymore or I don't love them like I did. Maybe now I care about them more so than being in love with them. More than a romantic love. Whatever's the case, again, things change and you will change, which is what the realignment is for, to check in with yourself, to tune your station, as Abraham says. This is why you convene with your inner being and whom else you have on your spiritual path. To put any expectation on another person that they will fulfill a happiness or take you to a better place in any way is not giving yourself credit, is not giving yourself power, is not using the powers that you have. You have the power to do, give, be anything you want, whether someone is there with you or not. You have the power. Sometimes you'll have no choice. You're just forced to be alone. You're forced to love yourself. And that's the fun part. When you're in a place that you have to learn to depend on you to love you with or without someone else. But conditions will change. And so if you want to be happy, be happy. Choose to be happy. Abraham says that too. I love that. Choose to be happy. Simple stuff. That's simple stuff. You can be happy because you want to, despite whatever else is going on, despite someone else's opinion, despite what someone else is doing to provoke something out of you. You have a choice at every single event. So choose. And if you are choosing and not happy with your results, just acknowledge that that's because you're choosing. Speaking on Unconditional is mostly about the self-improvement and self-development, self-investment portion of The Road Less Traveled. We talk about all things self-development. And so when I suggest that you be unconditional or you learn what unconditional actually consists of, I'm simply giving you another tool to use along your road of being your best self, if you want to. Another option, we'll say that, another option. Because again, self-discipline will take you very far. Self-love will take you far. anything having to do with you focusing on yourself becoming its best version will get you far. As far as positive results and happiness, peace, you'll feel peace. Because the other side to being unconditional is that you're also, again, in charge of all of your energy, all of your power. It's well within your hands, and you are actively taking care of it. You're actively maintaining it. So if you're not relying on a condition to be happy, if you're not relying for something to be a certain way in order for you to feel great or good or positive at all, then you are free to skip the disappointment. You're free to skip any resentment that would normally overcome you. Choose to be unconditional, and you will choose to skip the lower vibrational results that you normally get with your emotions. I don't think acting out of character really ever helped many people. We'll say that. Sometimes it'll get things done in the moment. You know, it'll cause an immediate reaction. You get a little wild and things lay out the way they were supposed to. But in the long run, you are exerting energy to do that. In the long run, you are pulling from your bank. You are paying for that to take place. You are paying for that to take place because money is energy. It's all energy. We are all energy. Literally giving energy as we exist. That's the metaphysic portion of it, and again, topic for another day. Just suggesting that we all learn to be unconditional, to love one another unconditionally as much as possible. Again, you don't have to love everyone. You just avoid the ones that you don't want to love and don't behave like them, because if you behave like them, you're going to attract them in. That's all. Just be mindful of what you're putting out. Again, be mindful of what love feels like to you outside of a condition. Be mindful of what works for your inner being and for you. Realign as necessary. But yeah, I suppose that was the gist of what I wanted to say. Meet me on my Patreon if you would like more. There's always more to be had. And that is, again, one of my models, always more, never less. You can never be less than what you have grown to be, what you have become, what you have generated and collected already. You can never be less than that. You can never give the knowledge back. It's you now. It is a part of you. Now you know. And that's where that saying comes from. If you knew better, you would do better. Yeah, once you know something, you literally can't, well, you can pretend like you don't know. But most of us just don't feel right with that. It just doesn't sit right when you get home and you're trying to relax and your stomach's like, oh, we know that you know. You know that we know that you know. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Just, if you want the peace and relaxation, be unconditional. All right, that being said, I'm going to head out now. I am your host. I am your lovely spiritual assistant in this physical realm. I am Dolo. You can find my Patreon linked below. Go on there, please. Become a part of my membership, my community there, because I do give other videos there. And as usual, it will grow over time. I say that to you all the time. If you look back at my channel, I say it, and it does grow. Sometimes it takes a while because my focus is like this. Forget the split energy. My energy sometimes is like this, you know, bounce energy. That's what we're gonna call that. I got bounce energy sometimes. I know you tired of me doing this. Anyway, meet me on Patreon. I will see you there. Thank you for being here, even if you don't come there. I love you. I appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And until next time, real ones, stay real. Be great, don't accept the hate, and never surrender to the pretender.